Good morning, everybody. And I wanted to take this opportunity to wish you all a happy Palm Sunday. And I can't believe it's Palm Sunday already, and the next Sunday is Easter. But this is of course, the day that Christians around the world celebrate the entry into Jerusalem by Jesus of Nazareth. I also want to wish our Jewish friends a happy Passover. This is the week, of course, that both of our great faiths kind of merge together. I picked a song this morning as our prelude that is a song that goes back to my childhood growing up in the United Church of Christ. And this is a very old hymn, and it is called The Palms. I don't know if you've heard it, but I hope you enjoy it. And I hope it is meaningful for your worship experience this morning. O'er all the way green palms and blossoms gay are strewn this day in festival preparation, where Jesus comes to wipe our tears away. In now the throng to welcome him prepare, join, sing his name divine. Let every voice resound with united acclamation. Hosanna, praise be the Lord. Bless him who comes to bring us salvation. God's word goes forth and people by its might once more their freedom gain from degradation. Humanity doth give to each his right, while those in darkness find restored the light. Join, sing his name divine. Let every voice resound with united acclamation. Hosanna, praise be the Lord. Bless him who comes to bring us salvation. Sing and rejoice, O blessed Jerusalem. Of all thy songs sing the emancipation. Through boundless love the Christ of Bethlehem brings forth the hope to thee forevermore. Join, sing his name divine. Let every voice resound with united acclamation. Hosanna, praise be the Lord. Bless him who comes to bring us salvation. Join, sing his name divine. Let every voice resound with united acclamation. Hosanna, praise be the Lord. Bless him who comes to bring us salvation.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning. This is a new day full of light, sound, and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we've been given. Let's not waste it. Come now and let us worship together. Good morning. My name is Jan Grigsby. I'm a worship associate at the Youngstown Unitarian Universalist Church. I have a few announcements before we get started. I'll echo Jeff's sentiments. Happy Passover to everyone celebrating with a second Seder tonight. I want to take a moment to briefly introduce our special guest, Ellie Turin, who is the Director of Development for the LGBTQ Greater Cleveland Community Center. She has a varied background. She's served in the military, and thank you for your service. She has worked in media and finance as well. She has an undergraduate degree from Ohio State University, a master's from Norwich University, and is a PhD candidate in finance and management. So thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you later today. I have an announcement about our Giveaway the Plate program. Each month, UUYO gives away 100% of our unpledged donations to organizations that make the Mahoning Valley a more just and equitable place. If you'd like to nominate an organization to receive those donations, there's a survey in the weekly update. There's also one available on the UUYO web homepage. So take a look at that if you'd like to nominate a organization to receive those funds. A second announcement, next weekend, UUYO is excited to present a virtual reading of the play The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, by a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, Stephen Adly Gerges. The play features both professional actors and UUYO congregants. It'll be followed by a short panel discussion by Reverend Joseph. Act 1 will be performed Friday, April 2nd, and Act 2 performed on Saturday, April 3rd. Both nights begin at 8 p.m. Please note that the play contains adult language as well as adult subject matter. For ease of watching, we'll be using a new platform instead of the Zoom link for church. So to RSVP, there will be a link in the chat box, and I believe that there will be a email sent around later in the week as well. A last announcement is you may have noticed we have a new flag that has replaced our traditional rainbow flag at the church. This is called the Progress flag, and you should be looking at video here of Martin Berger and the work crew installing the flag last Saturday. In addition to the 6 traditional rainbow stripes, you can see the flag has a chevron with black, brown, light blue, pink, and white stripes that symbolize the following marginalized groups: people of color, trans individuals, those living with HIV/AIDS, and those who've been lost. So the chevron points to the right to indicate progress, but is on the left showing that there's certainly more work to be done. So thank you again to PFLAG for generously donating that, and to Martin Berger and the Work Party crew for installing that on Saturday. This coming Wednesday, March 31st, we will have a very brief ceremony to both thank PFLAG for donating the flag, as well as commemorating the Day of Trans Invisibility. If you would like to join us for that brief ceremony, either email me at jgrigsby6@verizon.net, and both my email and phone are in the church directory at the UUYO website. I'd like to have you join me, or join Marguerite for the chalice lighting.
Hello, and thank you for having me. Wednesday is a Transgender Day of Visibility, a day in which we celebrate the diversity of the trans community. This community encompasses those who define themselves outside of the traditional gender binary as gender nonconforming, trans, or non-binary. The Unitarian Universalist Church began supporting what was then called the LGB, lesbian, gay, bisexual community in 1970, in accord with the first principle, which states the respect for the inherent worth and dignity of all people. In the late 1980s, a committee of UUs throughout the nation explored how welcome LGBT people felt in their congregations. To their dismay, they found that there was great prejudice, ignorance, and negative attitudes, resulting in their being excluded. To address this issue of exclusion, in 1989, the UUA, Unitarian Universalist Association, at the General Assembly voted to begin the Welcoming Congregation program. This program provided a handbook for congregations with steps to take to become truly welcoming of people of all sexual orientations. At approximately the same time, UUYO was hosting PFLAG, a support group for friends and families and LGBTQ people. In 1989, the handbook was revised to be more inclusive of transgender identity. In the same year, UUYO housed the Pride Center of the Mahoning Valley. Finally, in 2006, the UUYO formed a Welcoming Congregation Committee under Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, with the objective of being an ally and advocate for the LGBTQ community. We became a public sanctuary, performing marriage ceremonies, lobbying for equality in work, marriage, and housing. Also, for 5 years, we sponsored Kokomoka, a youth group that met monthly to provide social functions and support in a safe space for adolescents and tweens who identified as LGBTQ, their friends and families. Today, as a welcoming congregation, we collaborate with Youngstown area PFLAG, the YSU campus LGBTQ plus group, and the Full Spectrum Community Center. We march in local pride parades, participate in the Pride Festival by having a table where we publicize our religious education programs in which LGBTQ people are fully accepted as valued members of our community. We hold services in June, Pride Month, and in October to acknowledge Coming Out Day. We offer our space to Full Spectrum for World AIDS Day and Trans Day of Remembrance. Along the way, transgender and gender nonconforming people have challenged us to see past the male-female stereotypical feminine trans woman and masculine transgender men. As the mother to a transgender woman who is also a person of color and challenges the heteronormative stereotype of what it means to be a woman, I am grateful for the openness and acceptance of this congregation. As a longtime Youngstown area PFLAG board member, I'm grateful for our connection and collaboration with UUYO. We are proud to see the Progress Pride flag donated by PFLAG flying over the entrance to UUYO. My little child's out here. We like this challenge in the spirit of commitment of UUYO to the members of We like this challenge in the spirit of commitment of UUYO and its members to doing the sometimes difficult but empowering work of embracing and standing with marginalized people to build a beloved community in Youngstown and beyond.
Thank you, Marguerite. Please join me in reading the covenant of this church. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Each month, UUYO picks an organization that supports transformation in our community. In our church's historic commitment to the well-being of our community, we give away 100% of the offering to those in need. UUYO's giveaway the plate recipient for March is Habitat for Humanity Women Build. Now more than ever, local families who need a safe, affordable home are counting on you. With the coronavirus, economic hardship from lost wages and layoffs, Habitat Humanity Mahoning Valley serves Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties with the belief that everybody deserves a decent, safe, affordable home. Each March during Women's History Month, Habitat organizes a program called Women Build. Habitat 2021's Women Build Week was March 8th through 15. Women Build provides an opportunity to take a proactive step in helping families improve their living situation. Many of our partner families include single moms who make impossible choices between healthy food, medicine, transportation, and an affordable home. The unprecedented coronavirus crisis has made this especially difficult. Women Build is a partnership between Habitat for Humanity and Lowe's Home Improvement that brings people from all walks of life together to make a positive impact by sharing their story with friends, family, and colleagues to raise money so that local families can achieve a more stable and secure future. It takes everyone and it starts with us. Women Build is structured as part fundraising, part building. Our construction volunteer shifts are currently closed due to COVID, but once it's safe to do so, those shifts will reopen. So we now receive the money and the offering that supports the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire, but have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless game. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not be given by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love be freely given by this we worship and are free. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was just lovely. We'll take a moment for meditation. If you can get in a comfortable position, slow your breathing down, let your mind go blank, and attempt to stay in the moment. Our reading for today is taken from the Keshet website for LGBT equality in Jewish life. It's a revision of the Haggadah, the story of Passover, that's read during the Seder dinners at Passover time. What the reading has done has taken a section that describes four different types of sons, S-O-N. The wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, and the son who doesn't know how to ask. It has revised it to describe four different types of allies. By allies meaning someone who is supportive of LGBTQ plus rights. The first type of ally described in the reading is the ally who asks, what does LGBTQ plus mean? There are a lot of letters. The first step to taking action and advocating on behalf of others is to approach with curiosity, humility, and openness. And allies open to learning new things, and even more importantly, to challenging their own assumptions. The second type of ally described in the reading is the ally who stands up for a friend. The lives of people we care about, our friends, our family, our colleagues, can be a really powerful catalyst for becoming involved in social action. The third type of ally described in the reading is the ally who speaks up about equality. Those who speak up about injustice because it's the right thing to do, regardless if someone we know and care about is affected. We do it on behalf of our core values. The fourth and final ally described in the reading takes it one step farther. The ally who comes out as an advocate to move equality forward. And this is the ally who is willing to take risks on behalf of themselves and being out as an ally to take action and to move values forward. So as UUs, we can certainly ask ourselves, are we one of these types of allies? And also, what type of ally would we like to be?
Gardener's daughter stopped me on my way on the day I was to wed. It is you who I wish to share my body with, she said. We'll find a dry place under the sky with a flower for a bed. And for my joy, I will give you a boy with a moon and star on his head. Her silver hair float in the air, laying waves across the sun. Her hands were like the white sands, and her eyes had diamonds on. We left the road and headed up to the top of the Whisper Wood, and we walked till we came to where the holy magnolia stood. And there we lay, cool in the shade, singing songs and making love. With a naked earth beneath us and the universe above. time was late, my wedding wouldn't wait. I was sad, but I had to go. So while she was asleep, I kissed her cheek for cheerio. The wedding took place and people came from many miles around. There was plenty merriment, cider and wine abound. But out of all that I recalled, I'd remembered the girl I met. Cause she had given me something that my heart could not forget. A year had passed and everything was just as it was a year before, as it was a year before. Until the gift that someone left, a basket by my door. And in there lay the fairest little baby, crying to be fed. I got down on my knees and kissed the moon and star on his head. As years went by, the boy grew high, and the village looked on in awe. They'd never seen anything like the boy with the moon and star before. And people would ride from far and wide just to seek the word he spread. I'll tell you everything I've learned, and love is all he said. Da 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 da. I'll tell you everything I've learned, and love is all he said.
Thank you, Jeff, for that beautiful, beautiful song. I'm a huge Cat Stevens fan, so that made my day. And thank you, everyone from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Youngstown, for inviting me to speak before you on this beautiful Palm Sunday. I hope that the rains coming down today will bring new life as we enter into Easter weekend. It was a couple weeks ago, Jan Grigsby reached out to me and invited me to say a few words to the congregation today regarding the Day of Transgender Visibility. My name is Ileana Turan. I'm a transgender woman. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am the Director of Development at the LGBT Community Center of Greater Cleveland. Of course, I absolutely jumped at the opportunity. I thought this is a great way for us to connect and talk to each other and to affirm our humanity before the eyes of God. And I think that's what we should always be working toward every day. And as I thought about what words I would share with everyone today, I let my mind turn on it for a little bit. And I couldn't help but keep thinking about the parable of the Good Samaritan. We all know the story, of course. I was probably, I don't even know how old, first grade, I guess. I heard the parable for the first time. The man walking, he's traveling down the road, he's alone, and he's suddenly accosted by a group of strangers who beat him and they rob him of his possessions. They strip him of his clothing and they leave him on the side of the road naked to die. And of course, the man is helpless. He has no choice but to just wait and hope that someone on the road will stop to help him. And a lot of people walk by. A lot of lofty, well-to-do people, respected individuals, just walk on by and didn't even pay him attention. And then finally, when the man on the road is almost giving up hope for life, another person comes along, and it's a Samaritan. And the Samaritan stops, washes him, cleans his wounds, cares for him, brings him back to life. And the lesson of the parable, of course, Jesus wanted to share with us is the question that he was asked, who is my neighbor? Someone asked Jesus, Lord, who is my neighbor? He said, that is the neighbor. Those who look out for each other are our neighbors. Doesn't matter where you live, what language you speak, how you practice your faith, color of your skin, who you love, how you see yourself, it doesn't matter. It's how we treat each other that makes us neighbors. That was always the first thing that struck me about that parable. The second thing that always struck me was, why would the Samaritan man take time out of his travel and expose himself to danger to help a stranger when the Samaritan man himself is a member of a marginalized community? This is one thing, we have to flash forward. This is where 2,000 some years later, we're living on the other side of the world from where Jesus was bringing his lessons to the world. And so we may not necessarily understand right off what was the lived experience of the Samaritan man, but this is an individual from a community that had been marginalized. They'd been pushed out of society. They weren't allowed in many people's homes. They weren't allowed to do certain professions. It's interesting that, the Samaritan, of all the people on the road, would have had an excuse. Oh, what's anyone done for me? But he didn't do that. And the reason for that is because he understood that universal truth, that we are all children of God. We all have to look out for each other. This was a theme throughout much of Jesus's teachings. He often associated with individuals from communities who were not seen as part of the broader society. He would minister to individuals who had fallen on hard times. Many individuals who had no option but to care for themselves and their families by selling their bodies, or who had been afflicted by mental or physical illness, individuals who were poor, even Roman legionnaires and tax collectors, individuals who were seen as not being good in the ancient Levant. But this was the whole point of Jesus's ministry, was to say, we are all of the Lord. We all belong together. It's the only way we're going to make it in this world, is to hold together. And so as I look on the parable, and what's so amazing about the parables, the lessons that Jesus brought to us, is the fact that it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what century you live in. It doesn't matter what country you live in. It doesn't matter who you are. There's a universality to that lesson. And so when I think about Transgender Day of Visibility, I can't help but empathize with the Samaritan man in the parable. And I can't help but see certain parallels between the trans experience and what it must have been like for the Samaritan community at that time and place. You know, trans people have been pushed out of public life. We're often attacked and killed simply for being who we are. We're often pushed into homelessness or imprisoned. We often find ourselves in vulnerable situations. We have to sometimes sell our bodies. We sometimes often find ourselves in contact with disease like HIV and AIDS. And we often die by suicide because we don't know or feel that there's a place for us in the world. And yet, the trans community is not walking by. We want to be neighbors. We want to be part of the broader community. We want to help. That's what gets me up every morning. That's why I work at the LGBT Community Center. So I know that every day I go to work, that's someone who gets a meal, that's somebody who gets medical care. You know, that's somebody who gets to use a computer to look for a job because they're in hard times. And we don't ask it, you know, have to be LGBTQ to come into the center. Our center is for everyone. You know, that's all we want is to really be part and accepted by everybody else and to be seen and recognized. Even if we're different, there are differences between us. You know, I don't expect other people to understand me. You know, people haven't lived my life any more than I've lived your life. You know, but we shouldn't start with our differences. There are plenty of things that we can learn, but the Samaritan man and the Hebrew man didn't start with their differences. They started with their similarities, and then they bridged those differences when they realized that they relied on each other to survive. That's what the Transgender Day of Visibility is all about. It's an opportunity for us to recognize who our neighbors really are and to recognize our shared humanity and our shared commitment before the Lord to care for one another. And so on this Palm Sunday and on this, as we enter into Transgender Day of Visibility, I'll close with the words of Jesus brought to us in Matthew 25:36. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Let's live by those words together. All of us, no matter who we love, no matter how we see ourselves, no matter what our lived experiences may be, let us come together and let us help to bring that new life into the world through our shared and reaffirmed commitment and love for one another. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you so much, Ellie, for sharing those inspiring words. Please join me in a brief prayer. Spirit of love, we are grateful for our speaker today, for Ellie. Please bless her and members of the LGBTQ plus community, our congregation, and our neighbors in the world. Amen.
Across these fields, across this town, standing up on solid ground, voices carry to tell the tale, rising up in one great voice and one great wail. I will not be ashamed, walk away or shift the blame. I'm right here inside my shoes, saying I will not be moved. I'm still standing. Let's get this straight. Let's make this clear. I'm still standing here. I wish I had $1 for every time that you were caught in another lie. You're so damn sure, you have no doubt that I am said and done, and I'm down for the count. But I will not be ashamed to walk away or shift the blame. I'm right here inside my shoes, saying I will not be moved. I'm still standing. Let's get this straight. Let's make this clear. I'm still standing here. And I don't care if I'm abandoned, it don't matter, I'm still standing. This is the proof, a lesson taught. I am stronger than you thought. Across these fields, across this town, standing up on solid ground. I won't be broken, and I won't be silent. I've heard the lines and I just don't believe or buy it. I will not be ashamed to walk away or shift the blame. I'm right here inside my shoes, saying I will not be moved. I'm still standing. Let's get this straight. Let's make this clear. That I'm still standing here. Let's get this straight. Let's get this clear. I'm still standing here.
We extinguish this flame, but not the warmth of truth, the fire of commitment, until we meet together again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact. You are loved and never truly alone.
All glory, laud, and honor to the Redeemer King, to whom the lips of children made sweet hosannas ring. The people of the Hebrews with palms before thee went. Our praise and prayer and anthems before thee we present. Thou art the King of Israel, thou David's royal son, who in the Lord's name comest, the King and Blessed One. Before thy passion they sang their hymns of praise. To thee, all high exalted, our melody we raise. Thou didst accept their praises, accept the praise we bring, who in all good delightest, thou good and gracious King. All glory, laud, and honor to thee, Redeemer King, to whom the lips of children made sweet